Today on Investigate TV Plus, millions of families struggle to pay the rent or find a budget-friendly place to live. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. We examine the high cost of housing and the innovations building a foundation for affordable solutions.
Plus, guilty until proven innocent.
Sir, you're making a mistake. I have not been drinking. I'm not impaired.
Sober drivers charged with driving under the influence without an alcohol breath test. Our investigation uncovers how police department policies cost the wrongfully accused time and their reputations.
Then a crossing guard brings joy to her corner of the world.
Sometimes I'll come this way when I'm not dropping my son off just to see her.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Demand is through the roof and supply is in the basement. Finding an affordable place to live can feel pretty impossible whether you're a buyer or a renter.
The National Low Income Housing Coalition says the U.S. is short more than 7 million affordable housing units, and no state has adequate low-income residences. Reporter Peter Zampa begins our in-depth look at the affordable housing shortage with a man who lived on the streets of New York before receiving the key to his future.
Ray Rennock shows us around his apartment inside the Prince George, a historic building in Manhattan. This space, a point of pride for Ray.
I moved into the Prince George February 1st, 2021.
Ray says he was a construction worker before a divorce landed him in a sleeping bag in a New York park.
What happened to me is something that I could probably blame myself for. But no one should have to go through that, being totally thrown on the streets.
The National Low Income Housing Coalition says the U.S. is short 7.3 million affordable units. Breaking Ground's goal? Turn buildings into low-income apartments for people experiencing or at risk of homelessness.
We renovated a former Jehovah's Witness residence. 185 of those units were reserved for lower income. For those 185 units, we received 61,000 applications.
Last year, New York announced a plan to address this shortage, reforming zoning laws, hoping to pave the way to building 100,000 new homes over the next 15 years. But this problem does not just exist in cities.
Breaking Ground has a property in rural Connecticut, just outside Hartford, where they say low-income housing is needed but scarce. Luxury apartment buildings often take up available land, and there's often a stigma attached to living near low-income residents.
People worry that it is going to disrupt the fabric of neighborhoods. People think, why would I be paying for people to have housing and all of these supports? It's cheaper to do that than to have somebody living in a tent on the streets. You're not being arrested and cycling through the criminal justice system. You are not having people calling 911 and EMS having to come and get you.
Supportive housing has Ray's life back on track. He uses in-building medical services. He painted his unit to make it feel more like home. He keeps this place sparkling clean, something he couldn't do on the streets.
Ray is fortunate he was able to find help, get off the street, and move into low-income housing.
But for countless other Americans, we know keeping a roof over their head is a source of stress every month, with half of all renters paying more than 30% of their income on rent and utilities, leaving them with little money to cover other expenses. Nationally, the average price for a one-bedroom, 899 square foot apartment is around $1,700, about $370 higher than it was 4 years ago. And this does not include utilities.
Our in-depth coverage continues as we take a look at the impact of dramatic rent increases and speak to those working on alternative solutions. Mesa, Arizona resident Jackie Sitbeck is doing something she never expected to do again in her lifetime.
Where do you want to go?
The 86-year-old is moving forced out of her home of 14 years due to an increase in rent almost double what she's paying now.
It's going from $1,545 up to $2,700. No, I can't do that.
A March 2024 study published by NerdWallet echoes Jackie's frustration. Rent prices are now 30% higher than they were before 2020. Across the country, people are searching for non-traditional solutions to offer affordable options for those in desperate need, but the demand often exceeds the supply.
It's a tough situation to be in. You know, it's sad.
This landlord in the Las Vegas Valley, who didn't want to share his name, built a 160-square-foot tiny home on his property that he's trying to rent.
You have your standalone small dinette there.
For $950 a month, this tiny home comes fully furnished and includes electricity and plumbing, Wi-Fi, a backyard, and separate entrance. Once the home was listed, he wasn't prepared for what happened next.
Literally have 113 and counting people, and it keeps ringing. Family of 4 inquire if they can come.
In Georgia, neighborhood revitalization is a critical element as developers work with local agencies to create affordable housing.
Rents have been skyrocketing the last few years, and the #1 predictor of homelessness is affordability.
Richard Taylor is the founder and managing partner of an Atlanta-based real estate development firm.
There is such a great need for affordable housing in the city of Atlanta right now.
For more than 2 decades, this abandoned apartment building has sat empty. With the help of the Atlanta Affordable Housing Fund, Taylor plans to transform this overgrown property into affordable housing, with rent as low as $537 a month for a studio apartment.
People have been driving by this for decades. They know this, and this is their neighborhood. So we want to be really cognizant of that.
This is the second such property for this neighborhood. About a mile away, Taylor's company transformed another vacant eyesore into 40 units of affordable housing. For just under $1,100 a month, a studio apartment comes fully furnished, including a television, plates, and bedding. For Taylor, he says affordable housing is about revitalizing the existing structures in the community and not just tearing them down.
All I see is absolute treasure that's been left behind.
In another part of Atlanta,
it's like you're in the middle of downtown.
Mayor Andre Dickens tours the city's latest solution to the affordable housing crisis.
This is going to make someone real comfortable during this winter weather.
The city purchased shipping containers and converted them into 40 affordable housing units. Each unit has a private bathroom, bed, and kitchenette. The complex, called The Melody, cost Atlanta roughly $50 million to build and was paid in part by the city's Housing Trust Fund. The mayor says the project is a rapid approach to finding housing for those who are unhoused.
For too long, people have said this housing challenge is a big problem, and they stop right there. Big problems require innovative solutions.
Back in Arizona, Jackie slowly made a dent in her packing as she prepared to move in with her family.
I don't like having to be that dependent.
Jackie says she's frustrated by the situation, but the hardest part is losing her longtime home and losing the friends she's made in her community.
It's the saddest thing in the world. They have to leave these people.
Your local United Way 211 is just one of the resources available for finding options to pay rent, mortgage, or utility bills and stay in your home. Call 211 to speak with someone immediately or go to 211.org to find more contact information.
Does feeling the burn mean you're burning fat? Still to come, the medical mythbuster weighs in on a commonly held weight loss belief. But first, sober drivers pulled over by police and charged with a serious and time-consuming crime. We examine the lab tests and bottlenecks delaying justice for the wrongfully accused. Every day, about 37 people die in drunk driving related crashes. That's one person every 39 minutes.
Drinking too much alcohol before getting behind the wheel can slow down reflexes and decrease a driver's ability to safely steer or use the gas and brake pedals. When an officer pulls over a suspected drunk driver, many times they'll use a portable breathalyzer to measure the amount of alcohol in a driver's breath before making an arrest.
In some cases, however, our investigation found sober drivers arrested and charged with driving under the influence who were never offered or administered an alcohol breath test.
Reporter Jeremy Finley examines those sober DUI arrests and uncovers a backlog of testing in Tennessee, forcing the wrongfully accused to wait months to prove their innocence.
One look at how William Rose performs on his field sobriety test, and you can see why he's in trouble. And listen to what the officer says he smelled.
We could smell some alcohol coming from the car.
Not long after, Murfreesboro police put him in handcuffs.
I was very cordial with them, but I was scared to death.
Scared and confused because Rose was completely sober.
I kept telling him, I said, sir, you're making a mistake. I have not been drinking. I'm not impaired.
So you may be thinking it's a rare case. Except it also happened to Bill Shank in Clarksville. His DUI arrest was plastered all over a local media outlet.
It feels surreal. It's like a joke.
And Katie Slayton in Franklin, she was arrested in front of her child's daycare. Sober Middle Tennesseans arrested for DUI. And as a result, they say lives are ruined, not just because of the public stigma, but because our investigation found they have to wait months from the state for blood tests to come back in Tennessee, showing they were sober. As Rose waited for results, he lost his job and insurance and racked up hefty legal fees.
We lost close to $30,000 between legal fees and impound fees.
Slayton, who was charged with DUI and felony child neglect, had her child removed by DCS for 9 weeks.
They have traumatized my son, they have traumatized me.
Shank says while months passed by, so did jobs.
I lost 2 job opportunities because when you do my name and my city, my mugshot comes right up. It's not a flattering portrayal.
Attorney Bernie McAvoy's client was arrested by Goodlettsville police for DUI and was completely sober.
This particular client had to wait 8 months for that chemical test to prove that he had not consumed anything at all.
But hold on, you may be thinking, didn't all these people fail field sobriety tests? Well, our investigation found completely sober people can perform badly, especially if they have health issues. Remember that Rose clearly couldn't walk a straight line?
I have struggled with balance. I've been bow-legged most of my life, so I've struggled with balance for a long time.
Slayton says she was so traumatized about doing a field sobriety test while police took her child away into the daycare that she performed badly. And Shank says his ADD makes it hard for him to follow directions.
When your whole mind is like, this isn't real, it's like a dream. It's like Charlie Brown's teachers talking to you.
We also found that indicators of a drunk driver can be wrong. Police said they could smell alcohol in Rose's car.
Post-COVID world, I grabbed some Purell and put some hand sanitizer on.
And in Shank's car.
Said the car smells like alcohol.
But Shank is an Uber driver, and at the time he was arrested, his passenger in the back seat had been drinking. So why not just use a breathalyzer to immediately show that they were sober?
I asked for a breathalyzer, they refused one. They said, we don't do them in Murfreesboro.
In fact, many police departments no longer use breathalyzers. A spokesman for Murfreesboro Police say they find blood tests to be more accurate. But our investigation found the state says the average wait to get toxicology tests back, which completely exonerates a person from any impairment, is 3 months. But we found that's not what happened in these cases. Both Rose and Shank had to wait nearly twice that long, almost 6 months. And Slayton waited 8 months.
Is that acceptable?
No, that's not acceptable.
Jennifer Hall is the regional administrator of the TBI Crime Lab.
There are times that our turnaround time was not acceptable.
Hall says there's a backlog of alcohol and toxicology blood tests. The amount of cases simply outnumbers the staff able to quickly process them. They've hired more scientists this year and say turnaround is improving.
Anytime someone's life is impacted by waiting on a result, that's a lot. And I think we want to improve. We want to do better. I feel like we're going in the right direction.
Rose says the direction of his life fell, awaiting proof of his innocence.
I didn't even get an apology letter from Murfreesboro Police Department, saying, hey, yeah, we goofed up, we messed up. And this has destroyed my life.
All the people we profiled did have their charges dismissed. Now, we reached out to every police department who arrested a sober person for DUI and asked for comment, but all declined an on-camera interview, sending us statements instead. In Rose's case, the Murfreesboro police spokesman wrote the system worked as it is designed. Franklin police would not comment on Slayton's arrest. And the spokesperson for the Clarksville Police Department wrote in part, the officer acted in good faith and believed Mr. Shank was under the influence. In Nashville, I'm Jeremy Finley.
According to the National Highway Transportation Safety Board, the best portable breath test devices typically cost between $300 and $700. And many law enforcement departments have only a limited number, and most patrol officers do not have regular access to them.
She's given new meaning to exchanging a crossword with someone.
There's no other reason to do it other than we're all happy, makes us all happy.
Still to come, we head back to school to get a lesson from a woman who guides kids in more ways than one. But first, you might feel the burn, but you won't necessarily see it. The Medical Mythbuster shares what one researcher believes is the key to shedding pounds.
If you want to drop some weight, you need to burn calories, right?
Well, there's truth to that statement, but a Duke University expert says there's a limit to how many calories your body will burn no matter how active you are.
In this Medical Mythbuster, Viv Williams reveals the role evolution plays in losing weight.
Many popular weight loss plans focus on both diet and exercise. If you make healthier food choices and move more, you may drop some pounds, boost happiness, and improve your overall health. But if you focus more on upping your exercise levels without changing your eating habits, you might just end up frustrated.
Over the long term, our bodies seem to be working very hard to keep that total calories burned per day in a pretty narrow range.
Dr. Herman Ponser, an anthropologist at Duke University, studied a hunter-gatherer community in Tanzania. He wanted to find what high levels of daily activity do to our metabolism.
I was really sure going into it that they would have really high metabolisms. They would burn a lot of calories every day because they get an incredible amount of physical activity. They are more physically active in a given day than most Americans are in a week.
Instead, what Ponser and his team found was...
No, they don't. Their energy expenditure is the same as you and me, even though the lifestyle is so different.
How can that be? Ponser says what they think is happening is the body runs on an energy budget, just like we have a money budget.
Think about that as a survival adaptation, right? You don't want to be burning calories if they're not available.
Ponser says, for example, if you spend too much money on clothes one month, you balance your budget by spending less on, say, food. The same holds true for your body's energy expenditure. If you exercise excessively, he says your body accommodates the deficit by taking energy away from other body functions, such as your immune system. Ponser says what all of this means in terms of losing weight is that yes, exercise will help you burn some calories and help you maintain a healthy weight. Plus, he says exercise is essential for good health, but
diet is the better lever to pull.
If you want to see the numbers on the scale go down. With this Medical Mythbuster, I'm Viv Williams.
Ponser says they're still learning more about how the body burns calories. So all that running I did throughout the years didn't really help me.
It's not fair.
It's
right?
not fair.
It's not fair. You should be able to run more, burn more, and
exactly.
lose weight if you want, right?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Up next, safety with a smile.
They're not allowed to cross unless they smile.
A crossing guard inspired to create the friendliest corner on the walk to school. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download. So many people help children thrive in the classroom.
While teachers are often recognized for their importance in a child's life, one role that may be overlooked is the individual who stops traffic to make sure kids get to school safe every day.
Reporter Ashley Hendricks shows us how one school crossing guard outside Richmond, Virginia, inspires acts of kindness from her students and their parents.
Whether dropping off,
hi, sweetheart,
or picking up,
oh, so keep going.
Ms. Pinkham will always be there.
Higher up? Oh, goodness, yeah.
Standing at the corner of Alicia and Galaxy with a wave and a warm smile.
We get high fives in the mornings and high fives in the afternoons, and a great smile, because they're not allowed to cross unless they smile.
The moment just outside of Henrico's Elizabeth Holiday Elementary is short but sweet.
And I don't think she realizes how important she is to these children. Like, the smiles that she puts out, you know, it makes everybody's day.
It's the best part of the day for Allison Warfield and her son Briggs.
Sometimes I'll come this way when I'm not dropping my son off just to see her. Just to wave, just to get the wave and the friendly smile.
And on any given day, students will shower her with gifts of appreciation.
This here is a bracelet one of the gals gave me yesterday. On my keychain for Christmas, someone made a tag, I guess, for my keys.
She's collected many handmade trinkets since starting here 4 years ago.
I'm gonna let this one out.
It's no accident that her style of directing traffic would lead straight to the hearts of so many.
It's just a natural thing to do. There's no other reason to do it other than we're all happy. Makes us all happy. Good afternoon. Have a great afternoon.
The joy that gleams from the young faces here, Allison says, is just as important as keeping them safe. No matter if it's in the morning or in the afternoon.
This way.
Ms. Pinkham's motto will remain the same.
Smile a day is priceless.
And that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zur.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching. Next time on Investigate TV Plus.
This is what I'm talking about.
Fewer potato chips in the bag and fewer paper towels on the roll.
I mean, it feels overwhelming. It also feels like you are powerless.
An in-depth look at shrinkflation. And we'll show you what to watch for when you're at the grocery store.